Craft Time with Miss Victoria. I'm Victoria, a volunteer at the Ronald McDonald House of Washington, D.C. Shout out to Celia and Emma and the other half of my dream team, Terry.
Go Terry!
Today I'm going to walk you through 2 crafts, an origami flower and a stem. So all you're really going to need is 2 sheets of paper. You can get printer paper, newspaper, a paper bag from the store, or anything like that. If you only have white printer paper and you want a colorful flower in the future, another craft for the kids is just to get them to color the paper however they'd like, and then you can fold it into your flower. So, and if you're really prepared, maybe you have some origami paper lying around the home, but for now, today, I have some colorful printer paper, and we'll make these into squares a little bit later. And then optionally, you're going to need a pen or some kind of cylindrical object just to roll out the petals later, and some scissors if you want them to cut your paper into a square or to also put your flower onto this stem. And so with these origami flowers, you can make a bunch of colorful ones or ones out of book paper. Those look really vintage, and you can make a bouquet to spice up your home or to give them as a gift. You can also make a bunch and put them on your windowsill and have a nice garden, or string them along a string and make a paper garland as a decoration. So let's get started. First things first, we're going to need to make each of your pieces of paper into a square if they're not already. One cool trick I saw to do this without creating a diagonal crease in your paper is you take 2 sheets of paper and you line them up just like this, and then you'll know to cut off this portion of the pink and this portion of the green. But I'm just going to go ahead and do the classic way that I remember of folding the paper in half diagonally to form a triangle like this on each of my sheets of paper. And then we're going to fold this part over, and this is the part we're going to cut off or tear off if you don't have scissors. It doesn't have to be perfect, no worries. So there's my sheets of paper, and here you can see there's a square, and I have my scissors, so I'm just going to cut this off. And now we have our 2 squares. So we're going to start off with the flower first. So the first step of making our flower is to make an origami square base. If you made your square in the same way I did, you should have at least 1 diagonal fold in your paper, but otherwise let's go ahead and fold the paper in half diagonally to form a triangle, like so, and just crease it well, and we're going to open up the page once again, and we're going to do this in both directions. So we open up the paper again, and we have a nice X, and now we're going to flip our paper over, and now we're going to fold it in half from bottom to top and left to right. So this is bottom to top, forming a rectangle. Crease it well, and open it back up again. Now we're going to do left to right. Just line it up nicely, make your crease. We're going to open it back up. So now we have folds and an asterisk-like formation. We're going to turn our piece of paper so that the diagonal is facing you. And to make this square base, we're going to bring the left and right corners down to the bottom corner and collapse it down like this. So now you have your square base, and it looks like this. Now we want to rotate our square base until the open side is facing away from you. So this is what the open side looks like. We just want that facing away. So now we're going to fold the lower right and left sides to the center, like so. A lot of this flower is going to be doing the same thing 4 times over to form our 4 sides and 4 petals of the flower. So we're just creasing this nicely, and we're actually going to unfold it again so that we have a nice crease. And then now I'm going to flip the entire square base over and do the exact same thing on either side. Just crease it nicely. So now we have these creases and it looks like this. The next step is to lift up the upper layer on the left side and open it up. You may need to put your finger in this little pocket right here, and we're just going to squash it down to form a diamond like this. It looks a little bit like a kite. So if you didn't catch that, I'm going to do this 4 more times. First, I'm going to flip over my square base, and these creases that we just made should help, but we're pulling up the upper layer of the left side and we're opening it up at the top. You may need to stick your finger in to just kind of loosen it up a little bit, and then we're going to squash it down to form this diamond. So now getting to the other 2 sides is a little bit more tricky, but it's similar. So we're just going to fold this over, and now we have this left flap once again, this layer. We're going to open it up by putting our finger in and press squash down to form our diamond. So it's looking more and more like a kite. Now we're going to flip it over. So we're folding this over just to access this flap. We are going to pull it up and once again open it and squash down to form our diamond. So we want to make sure it's even. This is what the top looks like. This does look even. So it looks like this. Okay, I just had a slice of pizza and I'm ready to continue the tutorial. The key here, if you're still trying to sort out which side to start with for the next step, is that you want to make sure you're dealing with a side that is not completely blank like this. You want to deal with a side that has this little pocket, and at the top it's a little bit split. So this is where we're starting. This is probably the most complicated step of the flower, but just like the last step, I'm going to do it 4 times for each side. The first step is just to crease it by folding it in half, bring the bottom point to the top, and this is just going to help give you a little guideline as to where we're folding along. And then we're going to take the upper right and left sides and fold them to the center, just to create a crease, not permanently. So I fold it in like this. I fold in the other side. The tops are really pointy, but nonetheless, it works. So we folded this in and we fold it back out. So now we have a crease here, a crease here, and a crease here. What we're gonna do is take this top of the pocket and pull it in toward yourself. And I like to start folding in the tops to meet the center. But what we're gonna do is essentially create another diamond. We want these sides to meet each other. And now we squash it in and we have another diamond. And another way to visualize this is we essentially are creating this triangular tab in the center. And this is the line that you folded on when you fold it up to create that crease. So now we have this tab, and we want this tab, push it up. So now we have a nice triangle. So I'm gonna flip it over and do this again to show you. And you're gonna have to do it on all 4 sides. So we sort of still have this crease from before, and we're gonna fold the tops sides to the center in to form a crease. Like this. And we're gonna fold it back out. So we have this pocket. We're gonna pull the middle in toward us and start folding in the centers to create our diagonal triangle, or diamond, I mean, not diagonal. And it creates this tab in the center. We have our diamond. We just want to make sure our triangular tab is pointing up. So now we're going to do it for the other two sides. So I'm going to fold this over here. Make sure you're dealing with the side that's not completely blank. Probably won't have any completely blank side fully, but we want to make sure we have that pocket. So we still kind of have this crease in the middle, but if you're feeling like it's a little bit gone, you can fold up in half just to give yourself that crease. And we're gonna fold the upper side to the center on both the right and the left. Just creating that crease, like so. It's over here, and we're going to pull that top of part of our pocket to create our, I'm gonna fold the tops in and create our diamond. Like this. Our triangular tabs in the center. Just to make sure it's folded up. So last side, I'm gonna open up to here. Still have our crease for the most part, so I'm just gonna fold in the top, upper right corner to the center, upper right side and upper left side to the center, creating that crease. And then for the last time, the fourth time, we're going to pull in our pocket and fold in the tops until we create our diamond and squash it down. Once again, we have this tab in the center that we're forming, and we want the tab to face up. So now we've done all four sides. This time we are looking for the blank side, so fold it over the blank side. At this point, the top is pretty pointy. You can even it out if you want. So now we have a blank side on this side, blank side on that side. And it should look like this. We have our nice accordion-like kite. So I just had another slice of pizza. Just kidding, I'm still here. We're in the home stretch. We just have one more step to do to all four sides, and then we'll be rolling out our petals and we'll have our flower. So we have our blank side here, and we're going to fold the lower right and left edges to the center, like so. We're creating an even more pointy diamond or kite-like shape. So we want to do this step to all four sides. So I'm gonna flip over my sheet of paper, my origami, and since you want to find a blank side. As long as you're doing it to a blank side, you're good. We're folding those lower edges to the center. Now we want to do it to either side as well. I'm going to find my blank side here and fold the lower ones in. This is the point where your paper is starting to be folded a lot. It's pretty skinny, so just do your best. And then we have our fourth side over here. Just gonna fold it till I find the blank side here. I'm gonna fold it in. So now I'm going to even it out a little bit. So we have 4 little flaps over here, 4 little flaps over here, and here we are. It's petal time! So get out your pen or cylindrical object, or you can just use your finger, no worries. So I'm going to take the bottom of my kite diamond torch looking origami, and we're going to peel this first tab toward me, and I can just roll this out a little bit around my pen. I'm going to flip this over and do the same thing with this first flap. And roll her out. You can also do this with your finger if you need to. So now I'm going to turn it like this. We have our 2 petals here, and this is sort of like a square pyramid, so I'm going to sort of open out the accordion like this. And now I'm going to pull this petal toward me. Rotate it along my pen, or your finger, or a chopstick, or a toothpick, whatever you have lying around. And then my last petal is on the other side. So open up the accordion a little bit. And roll it out. And now we have our flower. Look at that. I have my green square paper that we cut out earlier. I'm gonna put my flower to the side, and if you haven't already, we're going to fold one diagonal into this square and just crease it like this, and unfold it, crease it well. So we have our square with one diagonal looking like this. The next step is to fold our upper right and left sides to the center. So it looks like this. It's kind of the start of a paper airplane. You may be familiar. Get on both sides. From here, we're going to fold the lower right and left sides to the center, like this, on either side. And we're gonna do that one more time. So lower right to the center, this is where your flower is going to sit, so it's going to be nice and pointy. Now we're going to flip this completely over. So we have our diamond, it's long on this side, a little bit shorter on this side, and we're just going to fold the bottom point up to the top. Like this. Just a nice crease. It might be a little bit hard, but just give it a nice crease. This is where your petal is going to sit. So it looks like this. Now we're going to fold this in on itself like a hot dog. So the outside should look a little bit like this. Now if we're pinching the bottom a little bit, we're going to fold out this leaf, just gently. It should look like this. And there we are. Now that we have our stem, we can bring our flower back and place it on top. So this flower actually doesn't have an opening, so we are going to need some scissors or just something pokey to make a small hole at the bottom. I'm just going to do a really small snippet using some scissors like this, and then I'm going to mount it onto my stem carefully. Might take a little finagling. But once it's there, we have our flower.